This video is brought to you in collaboration with wowhead.com. Hello everyone. The story of Aviana. It begins at Azeroth's ancient days, where the old gods they'd infected the planet, and if nothing would be done about it, natural life would never have a chance to emerge. The Black Empire ruled supreme, but thankfully the planet was found by the Titans, and they sent the Titan Keepers to battle with the old gods and bring order to the planet. Healing the world in the aftermath, it did not come from one place, but at the beginning there was a source of healing and balance, a place where all life could rest and revive. It was called G'Hanir, the Mother Tree, created within the Emerald Dream by Keeper Freya. From it bloomed many different fruits and flowers, and new life flowed outwards in waves, sweeping across all the land. For millennia, it served as a source of healing and balance that extended beyond the dream, and it flowed into the physical world. As life flourished in Azeroth, generations of animals they came and went. Soon enough, the Emerald Dream it was filled with the spirits of countless of beasts. G'Hanir became a haven for the winged creatures. In many boughs and branches, they had room for all. In its healing, peaceful energy, it calmed even the most distressed of minds. Many powerful spirits were drawn to G'Hanir. Some simply wanted to gaze upon it, others wanted to sit at its base and bask in its shade for a while, while one of them never left. This wild god was named Aviana, and she made the Mother Tree her home for as long as she lived. She was known as the mistress of birds, and unlike some of the other wild gods, she did not keep herself distant from what some might call the lesser mortal creatures. She was a predator, delighting in swooping down on prey from the sky, and eventually she was given a new name, the mistress of the Mother Tree. She had grown utterly enchanted with G'Hanir, and she spent years melding her powers into the tree. Soon enough, all living winged creatures in Azeroth, they dreamed of spending the afterlife flying through its branches. Aviana's spirits became intertwined with the Mother Tree, and in time, this would have severe consequences, since now the fate of Aviana, it was intertwined with the tree, and the peace bestowed upon Azeroth, it would sadly not last. It was Queen Azshara and her Highborn who made contact with Sargeras and the Burning Legion, and they worked on summoning them into the world using the incredible powers of the Well of Eternity. This was eventually discovered by people like Malfurion and Stormrage, and a resistance was formed. Even the demigods of the world, like Cenarius, Ursak, but also Aviana, they too eventually joined the fight over the fate of Azeroth. This was called the War of the Ancients, and in it, one of the battles, the Doomguard, they flew in from up above to hold back the chaos, but from the sky, there came what seemed to be every bird in all the land. The demons spun about in panic, as tiny finches and gigantic raptors tore at their flesh, and among the birds flew their mistress, Aviana, her delicate face now transformed into that of a hungry predator. The demigod's talons ripped through wings, sending Doomguard spiraling to their death. Others she seized in an inescapable grip. They used their sharp beak to tear out their throats.
These talons will be your end.
The one who was leading the demonic forces, Archimonde himself. He was not so easy to defeat it, and as the demons tried to leave the battlefield, tried to run away from the demigods, he showed them that not fearing him more was a very big mistake. He melted them, their armor and flesh sliding off their bones like soft wax, and this quickly showed the others that death was waiting on both sides of them, and it came in many forms, some of them more terrifying than others. They resumed the fight, without regard for their own safety. Now the demigods, they were mighty and powerful, they were a great asset to the Night Elf army. Yet they too started to fall, including the Mistress of Birds. Guided by the will of Archimonde, Doomguard with lances fought their way through flux towards the one that they sought. 24 demons perished along the way, but too many of them achieved their goal, surrounding the guardian of all winged creatures of Kalimdor and piercing her with their long barbed spears. But even the blood of the demigoddess, it fought for her, dripping down the lances of her slayers and pouring onto their hands. As she fell lifeless, her assassins tore at their own hides, her blessed blood now infesting their unholy bodies. In the end, the Doomguard died 2-1, rending themselves to pieces, trying to escape but they could not. Aviana had fallen though, and more demigods would follow, but eventually, the Resistance, it was able to overcome the might of the Burning Legion, close the portal, and send them back to where they came from.
No! No! This victory will not be ripped from my grasp. I will not return to him in failure. I will not be torn from this pitiful world. No! No!
The victory came at a great price, since all this spellwork had made the well incredibly unstable. The Sundering took place, splitting the land of Kalimdor apart, but the world did survive and it was not conquered by the Legion. Now as I mentioned before, Aviana's spirits, it had become intertwined with G'Hanir, and her death reverberated through the Emerald Dream. All the leaves of G'Hanir fell from their branches. The great Mother Tree, home to the spirits of countless of creatures, it was dead. Many mourned for it, and some succumbed to the temptation of serving dark forces in Aviana's absence, but although the wild god had died, her spirit still lingered. As the Night Elves were working hard on rebuilding their society in the aftermath of the Sundering, members of the Green Dragonflight, they discovered a gift, a single branch of Kahanir with a single acorn hanging off its leaves. The acorn was then used by the Red Dragon aspect Alexstrasza to create the Great World Tree known as Nordrassil. Malfurion sensed that it was actually Aviana's spirit who had given them the branch of Kahanir, and he believed that it was best to keep it hidden. Many of Aviana's children, they'd been lost to chaos by now, and they could be driven to claim any remnant of her legacy for their new masters. In secret, they moved the branch to a safe location deep within the Emerald Dream, where for many millennia, the branch served as a stabilizing force for the dream, and the land near it was said to be a place of great healing and peace. For the longest of time, Aviana herself would be out of the story, but we did see an organization of druids called the Druids of the Talon. These druids are amongst Aviana's most ardent followers, and they have the ability to transform into birds, knowledge which they then passed on to other druids who wanted to obtain their flight form. This quest is no longer required, but back in the day, players were asked to go and pick up several relics of Aviana, relics which were then used to teach the ways of the Stormcrow, which was left in the care of Clinter Dreamwalker. A big questline followed until they finally did unlock their flight form, but Aviana herself didn't play a part until the Cataclysm. In that expansion, we saw the Black Dragon aspect Deathwing, who shook the world to its core as he was ready to bring about the Hour of Twilight, the moment in which the old gods they would break out of their prisons and rule the world once more. To this end, he had the Twilight Hammer cult worker for him, but he also summoned Ragnaros the Fire Lord back onto the world.
By fire be purged!
The Fire Lord has risen! We must send word to the others! Let us hurry!
Ragnaros in turn sent out his fiery minions to assault Mount Hyjal, burn it together with the World Tree Nordrassil, burn it all to ash, and naturally, we couldn't let this happen. To stand up against such a mighty force, we needed to gain the aid of powerful beings in turn. It was time for the demigods of the world to be brought back and stand with us, like they had during the War of the Ancients.
During my stay in the dream, I made a vital discovery. The rift that weakens the boundaries of this world has hastened the return of powerful allies. The ancient guardians are coming back. Sinaris, Aviana, Goldrin. I can feel their presence. We must make sure we usher them into this world. Their timely aid will be indispensable.
Southwest of the World Tree Nordrassil, we find the Shrine of Aviana, home to the Druids of the Talon, and Ysera senses that the shrine is being threatened, as are the Druids who guard it. We're told to seek out Choluna, who tells us that the shrine is indeed in jeopardy. The harpies that they once sheltered have suddenly turned against them. Before we set out to preserve the mountain, Choluna advises us to take a moment and reflect, to make an offering of nectar to Aviana's burial circle to help sharpen our focus.
Come closer. They are pulling me away.
The spirit of Aviana is trying to tell us something about being born again in darkness, that she's stolen away, but we can't make sense of it as her image is fading in and out. One thing's clear though, something is going on with Aviana and we must make contact with her. The feather of her consort, named Blaive, who's been mad with grief for 10,000 years, that will do the trick, so we put him out of his misery, we bring back one of his ancient feathers, and we use it in a ritual to find out what is going on. As we do, a vision is granted, a vision in which we can see Saphria taking Aviana's egg and telling someone else to bring the others that they have back to the Firelands hatchery. As we quest with Visily Crow and we take care of the harpies in the area, we find out, after doing some convincing, that they are working for Saphria, a Twilight Dragon. They're stealing eggs for her, and they believe that she will be the one who will be the master of the skies. She has made sure that Aviana cannot be reborn by taking away her egg, but of course, she didn't count on us. At Saphria's roost, we battle with her dragons. We discover that they're using some sort of cloaking device to hide away the egg, and after opening enough of the devices, we find the missing demigod. The Druids of the Talon will bring her back to the shrine, but we can't let this dragon simply get away with it.
Insects! When I am done with you, I will burn your shrine to the ground.
With her final breath, Saphria lets us know that we may have bought some time here, but we didn't buy our lives. Her hatchery with the stolen eggs, it still remains, so after completing the ritual and bringing Aviana back into Azeroth, we send out to take care of those that tried to corrupt the demigod and have kidnapped her children. In the Firelands hatchery, we ride on top of Aviana's guardians as we battle in the sky. Twilight members are riding on Twilight Firebirds, the sky is falling as flaming boulders shoot past us, and as our final job, we stomp out any and all of the stolen corrupt corrupted eggs. Aviana's face is immobile as we tell her about what happened within the head tree. She will make the Twilight Hammer pay for stealing her children, tormenting them, corrupting them, but a part of her simply wants to fly up and watch this whole world burn. Thankfully, she does resist that last urge, and she even helps us further down into the zone with taking on Desperiona. This broodmother is an alarming sign, since usually the Twilight Dragons, they're raised from stolen eggs from other dragonflights, which are then modified through dark magic. In the field, we find a natural pure Twilight egg, which means that they now possess the power to breed their own offspring, so this is a threat that has to be taken care of immediately. After murdering one of her beloved drakes, we take the skull and place it near the carcasses that she devours.
Show yourself, beast! We will destroy you and your corrupt spawn, no matter where you hide! Slay her now, before Aviana's magic wears off!
Reborn! Not defile the winds of Hyjal, monster!
Aviana pins her down, and Desperiona is quickly brought low. That's the end of Aviana's involvement in Mount Hyjal, but we will go on to first expel Ragnaros back into the Firelands, and then later on venture forth into the Firelands itself and take care of him once and for all. Aviana turned her attention back to Gahanir. Although times might have changed, her dream of providing a spiritual haven for her kind, that dream had not. She set out to restore the Mother Tree to its full glory, but this did not consume all of her attention, since during Wars of Draenor, she sent out Skylord Amnuran to our garrison with a personal request. The Arakoa of this world, they're creatures of the sky, and thus they are within the domain of the great Aviana. He has been sent to procure a feather, so that they may parley with the Arakoa through the language of the winds. They will extend an invitation of peace and a place on the great bow. The feather had to come from an Arakoan of nobility, which we found within Skyreach, and after we complete the quest, Aviana gave us a feather as the reward. This is probably one of the best toys that we've ever added to the game, since it allowed us to somewhat fly within Warlords of Draenor, and a similar feather was used during the War of the Ancients trilogy. In that story, we read about the Red Dragon Cressus, also known as Corialstras, and Malfurion finding their way to Aviana's domain, just before the Wild Gods actually pledged their aid to the war. They had not traveled there on purpose. Cressus had to quickly make a portal as a gigantic worm was about to eat them, whole different story, and his desire to be able to fly again, it led them accidentally to Aviana. She didn't mind though. Her children would be feasting for quite some time, but now they faced the problem of getting down again. The Mistress of the Skies was kind enough to lend her aid with that, as she gifted Cressus one of her feathers, which allowed him to fly down, very similar as to what this toy allowed us to do in-game. Now her quest of restoring Gahanir to its full glory, it did not go exactly as planned. The branch of the Mother Tree, it remained within the Emerald Dream, but unknown to all was that the forces of the Emerald Nightmare, they were already gathering for an assault. When these dark forces investigated key sources of power within the dream, they discovered the true nature of Gahanir. The Sailor Lord Xavius, working on behalf of the Burning Legion to taint the Emerald Dream, he ordered his forces to exercise caution. This branch of Gahanir was corrupted slowly, very slowly, in such a way that even its guardians could not sense it. When the nightmare did finally reveal itself, this branch suddenly pulsed with evil. Had it been left corrupted, it might have thrown the entire Emerald Dream into chaos by itself, but luckily the Dryad Myloon, she was able to take the staff, bring it all the way back to Dreamgrove, where druids then took it to Nordrassil to cleanse it in the sacred water surrounding its roots. Once they get there, they find out that our forces have already been attacked by the Legion, and they have felt it. We free Zentabra from her bubble, we heal both Hamul Rune Totem and Celestine of the Harvest.
The well was nearly lost during the assault, but so long as a single drop
I am ready to
remains,
begin
there
the
is hope.
ritual. I will prepare the well's waters for the cleansing. You must protect me until the ritual is complete, or Gahanir will be lost.
Something ain't right. The spirits be crying out.
The gateway is activating. Tremble before me! I bring darkness to this world! If you keep us alive, we will buy you the time you need.
The Pit Lord Destromov enters the battlefield, and he is ready to finish what they started. We have to hold the line and buy enough time to finish the ritual, and even Aviana shows up to aid our cause.
Use Gahanir to call upon the spirits of the forest to destroy this fiend!
I will destroy you! Your world will burn!
It is too dangerous to leave Gahanir hidden anymore. The nightmare covets the branch's power. Obscurity will no longer suffice. The strength of the Mother Tree must be used to drive the forces of evil away from Azeroth, and even Aviana agrees, sending it off with her blessing. Perhaps one day, Aviana's beloved branch will be returned to the Dream to once again bring peace and stability to the realm. But for now, its true value will be in the hands of Restoration Druids. Which means that Aviana has some more free time on her hands, which she puts to good use within High Mountain. There we find fletching druids, learning the ways of taming the sky, gaining valuable tips like you will feel the strong urge to eat worms. They cannot stress this enough. Do not eat the worms, you will regret it. The Wild God is watching over her flock, once again handing out toys, which I was really excited about. I thought that this was going to be Legion's feather, allowing us to fly early in the game, but it turned out to be a little bit different. This time we're given a test of dexterity, usually preserved for the druids that she's taken under her wing. With her blessing, we too will be able to float gracefully through the skies for the time, and if we're able to collect all 10 emerald orbs as we slowly glide down, we'll be rewarded with the Hatchling of the Talon achievement, as well as the toy Emerald Winds. Now like I said, this one is not as great as Aviana's feather, as it will only push you off the ground for a little bit and catch a gust of wind, instead of being shot up straight into the sky and then slowly float down again. But hey, it's better than nothing, I suppose, and there are more rewards to be earned from Aviana and her Talon's Vengeance faction. With patch 7.1, they added 4 new world quests in Azuna, Stormheim, Val'sharah, and High Mountain.
These feathered fiends are breeding out of control. End their cacophonous revelry.
The Snowfeather, Bloodgazer, Direbeak, and Sharp Talon Falcosaurs, they're invading the Isles and they're breeding out of control. So the Wardens, they ask of us to thin their numbers and take care of them. When you kill the Matriarch of the pack, you have a chance of spawning their hatchling, feed it the food that they require, for example smoked Elderhorn for the Snowfeather, Azunian Grapes for the Bloodgazer, pungent Vraiku Gamalost for the Direbeak, and dried bilberries for the Sharp Talon. Feed them some of the food that they like, and they'll love you so much that they'll join you as a pet. Now you need to level them up to level 25, and one tip that I can give is to check out your garrison on your alts to see if the quest Unearth Magic is still available. This one is real easy. All you need to do is pick up an item from your mine and bring it back to the quest giver, and as a reward they give you the Ultimate Battle Training Stone, which will instantly level up your pet to 25. Do this on 4 different alts for all 4 different hatchlings, and you're ready to go on your spectacular adventures with them, since this is just the start. Now you get to do around 14 quests per pet on a daily basis, which involves something simple like taking them to your capital city, to a little bit more difficult, as in complete world pet quest with specific types on your hatchling's team, or defeat raid bosses while your hatchling is out. Go through all of that, and your beloved hatchling will start to get a little bit sick, a little bit depressed. Our time together, it sure was fun, but perhaps it's time to return it to its place where it was found. Once there, we find an injured matriarch who has kept herself hidden. That is, until she smelled her little lost hatchling, the one child that we stole from her. She is too badly injured to care for it, so we patch her up with some bandages and she bows her head in gratitude. As its child has joined our flock, so will it follow us, as we're the new alpha. Now that we've gained its trust, and we also get a very sweet new mount. 2 of the quests, the Snowfeather and the Sharp Talon, you can complete those right now, but for the other 2 you'll have to wait until the Nighthold raid opens up, which should be somewhere further down this month, so not that long of a wait. Now while riding on the Matriarch, we meet up with Aviana, who isn't too happy with what we've done. She can see a trail of broken feathers and shattered beaks behind us, but we explain that the Falcosaurs, they've been breeding out of control, driving nearby predators to starvation. She is pissed at us at first, but she can also see the wisdom in our choices and the kindness within us, as we steal children away from their parents, only to force them to fight in our pet battle team. Man, I wish she said that. Instead, she acknowledges that we've done a great thing for this matriarch and a hatchling, yet the crimes that we committed against their kind, they cannot go unpunished. The The Velkasaurs must be kept in check. It is the nature of balance after all, but so must her vengeance. Mortals cannot think that they may simply slaughter her children without thought or repercussion. We must show them that her wings stretch across these lands. We will be her talon and bring vengeance in her name. To do so, Aviana gives us the Ivory Talon, which transforms us into her Avenger, hostile to all players, and if you kill someone while looking like this, you'll get a mark of prey, which then in turn gives you reputation with affection. Now this one can only be used in the world quest areas, but if you earn enough reputation, you can buy the Ivory Feather, which does the same thing, only this one can be used in the Battlegrounds and Ashran. Get all the way to Exalted, and you'll be able to purchase the Ivory Hawkstrider, but most of all, kill as many people as you can, since Aviana wants to smell their blood. She could be a very kind wild god, aiding dragons, aiding mortals in the war against Ragnaros or the Legion, but the other side of her is definitely the predator. Her desire to fly up and see the world burn, the balance between the two. She is the embodiment and patriarch to all flying creatures, from the smallest Pepe to the largest of dragons.
These talons would be your end, mortal. Do not trifle with me.
And that is where we'll end the story of Aviana for today. I really hope you enjoyed this one. It's my first story up for 2017, so I hope we started it off right. If you want some more details on Aviana as a character or the whole Hatchling questline, check out the related Wowhead article. Link as always is in the description down below. Thank you very much for watching everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time guys, see ya!